Perfect.
Yeah. And that keeps coming up and saying saved.
Excellent. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to boot my laptop up because
All right. Well, I'll do the introduction bit first, if that's okay.
Fine.
Then.
Absolutely.
Just so we're being consistent with it.
So I also look after information governance as well.
Good.
Okay.
All right. So for the recording, this is Tom Stanley. So thank you for attending the meeting. Hopefully you understand. I've been briefed and notified about the meeting. You know why you're here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm John Graham. Quite happy to give you a bit of background about me if you want.
I think I've heard briefly. Briefly, yeah.
You okay? Oh, briefly,
I'm
okay.
fine. Yeah, maybe briefly.
All right. So I've worked in the NHS mainly since '83. I've done director roles recently. So my previous job was deputy chief exec and director of finance at Royal Liverpool.
Right.
I'm taking up the substantive role at Stockport as the FD. I'm just doing bits and bobs at the moment while I do that. I've obviously been involved in things like this in the past in work. I've been asked to look at issues which have been raised, and some you'll be able to help with. First thing to say, look, problems do arise at work.
Of course, yeah.
It's important to look these looked in, but this is a fact-finding exercise at the moment. It's about collecting any relevant information. It's not a disciplinary hearing.
No, absolutely.
If at some point that's determined, that will be done by somebody else. It is, however, confidential, so I would ask you not to discuss this meeting with colleagues, or the content of the meeting, obviously, people know you're in the meeting. The content of the meeting with colleagues or third parties. I don't have a note taker, so therefore we are recording it. I understand you'll send this off to someone you'll probably know better than me. It'll be tagged up. You'll get to see a copy of it. I'll get to see a copy of it. We'll agree a statement, and then hopefully you can sign it off, and then it can be
excellent. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay in terms of process?
Absolutely.
Or whatever? Okay. I've got, just give me 2 seconds. I've got some sort of like points of clarity, so questions that I want to ask.
Yeah, that's fine.
So apologies if I look at the computer screen. So it's my understanding you raised concerns about potentially a serious data breach with the chief exec, Lewin. Is that correct?
Well, I didn't exactly raise a concern as such. It came to Lewin's attention.
Oh, it came to Lewin's attention.
It came to Lewin's attention.
How did Lewin find out then? Sorry.
That bit I don't know.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm not sure about that, and I wouldn't like to say because I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't really like to give accurate information. Okay. But I got a phone call on Monday with this information that it might be going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I investigated it.
Yeah.
Conducted like an investigation myself.
Yeah.
And found some findings which I then compiled in an email to Lewin with a document as well summarising.
I think I've seen some of that. Yeah.
I'm happy to go over the document.
Yeah, no. If you could go into a bit more detail, that's fine. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it all regards to her emails.
Yeah. This is Sharon's emails.
This is Sharon's emails.
Yeah.
It's transpired that on or around the 14th of February, a number of emails, about 180, between 120 and 180, were sent to her personal email account.
And over what time span? I.e., what time span did the emails do? So is it emails going back, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 6 months?
Well, I'll come on to the content of them.
Right, okay.
That will undoubtedly come up, but they're all sent to her, what we're assuming is her personal email address. Yeah. Now, from discussions, I believe this is a personal email address. It's cindyburton@yahoo.co.uk.
Yeah.
They were all sent around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Okay.
It was right a few hours.
Yeah.
In a few hours. And the content of the emails, I've got a list. They were largely relating to duties and involvement at senior management level.
Yeah.
So there were sort of very strategic things.
Yeah.
There were a little bit of operational things, a bit about car parking.
Yeah. Okay.
But the main bulk of the emails was related to sort of her position and also the position of the CEO.
Lewin. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just I've got a little list here of what the content is.
Yeah, sure.
Now, this list is not exhaustive, but it does provide a very good insight into what the emails contain. Yeah. So there were board level emails. Yeah. So discussion between herself and the head of the board, head of trustees.
Yeah.
And other trustees as well. There were discussions originating from the old chief executive.
Yeah.
And regarding his dismissal.
Yeah.
There were some discussions about a mock CQC inspection.
Yeah.
There were sort of evidence of joint SLT discussions. So, for example, just very operational things between herself and the Director of Finance.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were board level meeting discussions from SLT.
Yeah.
Discussions around catering from the CEO. A lot of the emails did originate from the CEO or have something to do with the CEO.
And when you say CEO, which CEO? Because there's been a number of them. This is all about.
When I'm referring to CEO, I refer to Lewin.
This is all about Lewin. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
fine.
Okay. That's not to say, it would be wrong for me to say that they are solely about Lewin.
Yeah, no.
There was some staff survey discussion between the SLT. There was some discussion with other members of the SLT around the former director of HR. There were some discussions between Rachel Heenan around the opening of Grace's Place, and discussions around the former CEO, Peter Branson.
Yeah. And Rachel's the chair, isn't she?
Rachel's the chair, yeah. Just sort of, it would be wrong for me to say chit chat. It's more about Lewin.
Right, okay.
The discussions that I've sort of seen.
Okay.
They all have kind of something to do with it.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting. Can I just ask a general question then? So, is there guidance for staff who work in the organisation about emails and email traffics? And I have noticed something on one of the walls when I was walking out or somewhere about email. It might be around the kitchen actually.
Yeah, there's guidance there. Yeah.
So, is it clear you shouldn't send emails from a work account to a personal account, even if it's not non-patient related? So I can say in an NHS environment, we would, everyone would be very, very clear. Anything with any patient identifiable data on, you don't send to a non-NHS or a non-organisational, NHS email.
What I can do for you, Sharon herself is the Caldecott Guardian.
Right.
Okay, which means she possesses a hell of a lot of knowledge about information governance.
Yeah. Okay.
In that role, it would be ridiculous to say that she wouldn't know that she's not allowed to send this information outside of the webinar. However, I will sort of confirm whether it's where it's written in her policy.
Okay, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
And do you know when she last did a Caldecott training? Because you're only supposed to, is it annually you're supposed to do it as the Caldecott Guardian or whatever?
Now, the Caldecott Guardian training, we discussed it with her last year, and Sharon was Sharon sort of very firmly said that the refresher training was not compulsory, as long as she keeps up to date with what's going on. So I asked her to look into whether she needed to renew it. She said as long as she's aware of emerging issues, the use of formal training isn't required.
It could well be different. I know that I've forgotten the descriptor, but I know in NHS organisations there's an annual assessment you have to do, don't you, for data?
Yeah, that's called the IG toolkit.
I just couldn't remember the IG toolkit. So as part of the IG toolkit, I know you do have to do annual refreshers for things. So if you're the Caldecott Guardian or whatever, and it's all online, you can do
absolutely. That's something Sharon was sort of very, very firm about that, because it was around the time last chief executive. It was when chief executive left, I think. It was just before that we were discussing his renewal of CSIRO training, but also her Caldecott Guardian, and she definitely said, I remember the conversation. She was very adamant that as long as she keeps up to date by any means, that she would not be partaking in the course.
There may or may not be a moot point about whether she has to do formal training, but what you're clear about was that she was clear that she had to keep relevant, and therefore.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
Absolutely. And Sharon knows that.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've no doubt about it. Sharon is our Caldecott Guardian. She knows her responsibilities.
Okay. Fine. All right.
Absolutely.
I interrupted.
No. It's an important point. So I'm glad you raised it. So that's given the content of the emails.
Okay.
There were in her OneDrive account, which is sort of our online storage account. There were backups of Slack communication. Now, what Slack is? Slack's our internal communication channel.
Yeah.
It's like similar to Facebook, but for organisations.
Okay.
It's like an instant messaging app.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
No.
It's like an instant messaging app.
Yeah.
We can use